イニシャル D。
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da 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 da
The Karin Futo GTX.
Finally, we're here at last. 100 reviews. Well, technically. As hinted in my last video, I will be reviewing the Karin Futo GTX, the hatchback version of the classic Futo. Is this newer model any better than the old Futo, or is this just simply wheel boot initial debate? This is 1984 Futo GTX. In the way that some 40-year-old frat boys only respond to paddles and hardcore splooshing, the Futo GTX needs a firm hand to reach its optimal performance. In fact, it needs less of a driver and more of a disciplinarian. Enter at your own risk, and remember, this thing does not have a safe word. Interesting description, SSA. Okay. Well, as far as the disciplinarian thing goes, I think you'll understand why a bit later. I already talked about the Futo's history in a separate video, which is of course the original Futo review, which you can watch by clicking the little card in the top right. But the GTX is obviously derived from the original Futo and shares many parts from it as well. It would be, well, kind of redundant to talk about the Futo again, and to be honest, I don't really feel like it's based off the A86. In my opinion, I think it's based more on a third generation Honda Accord hatchback. So, let's talk about that instead.
Wait!
Alright, I kid. I will discuss the real life counterpart of the GTX, the Toyota Sprinter Truno GT Apex. The Toyota Sprinter Truno, or AE86, or the AE88 Toyota Corolla GTS, depending on where you're from, was a small, sporty little economy car manufactured from 1983 to 87. As stated in my previous Futo video, this particular generation was coveted due to being the last true rear-wheel drive Corolla. Keep in mind, Toyota had been producing front-wheel drive models alongside the AE86 and the subsequent AE88 since the introduction of the E80 Corolla generation in 1983. Sort of like how Ford had the Mustang and the Probe alongside each other at the same time. This was also true in America. You could have the sporty Corolla GTS or the equally sporty AE82 Corolla FX16, which featured the same engine as the Corolla GTS. However, in 1988, with the introduction of the E90 Corolla, the Truno and Levin all became strictly front-wheel drive only. Just like the Levin from the OG Futo review, the Truno was like the alternate version of the AE86, sort of like how the S13 had the Silvia and the 180SX, or 240SX if you're from the States. The Truno was offered in both a hatchback and a coupe, and I'll still keep my statement, I like the coupe better. The A86 Model Corolla, both Truno and Levin were offered in either a 1.6-liter single overhead cam 4AC engine for the lower-end SR5 model, or AE85.
Promise you won't freak out on me, okay?
Wait, why would I freak out?
This is no 86. It's an 85.
This is an 8.5? Wait, do you mean the AE85? What?
Bro, I can relate so hard to Itsuki right now. Like, this is probably why he's my favorite character. I mean, I'm basically in the same boat as him.
Your car might look like an 8.6, but pop the hood? I mean, it's like comparing a hawk and a damn hummingbird.
Or you could get the more desirable double overhead cam 4AGE from the, sportier Corolla GTS. Not much else to say about this car really, as it was, well, just that, a nice, sporty little car. I still believe the A86 still gets way too much hype, and I feel its performance is not really that great, as I put it this way, it's about on par with a similar era or similar vintage Honda Civic Si. Now, obviously, anybody who watches my videos, the A86 is from Alright, I'm gonna say it once. I've said it once already, I'll say it again. The AE88 is not the same as the AE86. And to further prove my point, I will show this clip here from Mr. Regular's review of the Corolla, or AE86.
Americans never truly got the AE86. Yes, we had the Corolla GTS, but if you look in at that nameplate, you will not see the designation AE86 standing alone. It's accompanied by another sinister term, AE88. Yes, the American version of this is designated the AE88. There is no true American AE86. I understand that when you look on your nameplate, AE86 does appear, but so does AE88. They are unfortunately two different cars.
Alright, with all that out of the way, let's discuss the specs of the GTX itself. Just like the standard Futo, the GTX features a 20-valve, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine with individual throttle bodies. Now, I probably forgot to mention this or didn't think of it at the time, but of course we all know the engine is based on the 4AGE, but it's based on the 20-valve 4AGE engine, which was only on the E90 platform Trunos and Levins. The engine is otherwise known as the 4AGE quote-unquote silver top. It features Toyota's VVT system and made around roughly 160 horsepower, as opposed to the 16-valve variant 130 horsepower on the respective E80 Corolla models. However, the valve cover stock on the GTX is red, while on the original Futo is a silver valve cover. Either way, they're both 20-valve engines. Unlike the classic Futo, you can remove the timing belt cover to reveal the cam gears on the cylinder head actually rotate while the engine's running, and they spin faster when you rev it. Finally, after all these years, we have reached peak realism and immersion. Oh, it feels good. With the engine specs out of the way, let's look at the speed specs. Funnily enough, in its stock vanilla form, the GTX is actually slower in a straight line than the normal Futo. 0 to 60 for the GTX is somewhere around 5 seconds. It didn't have any numbers on the wiki, so I kind of had to measure it myself. It definitely does feel faster than the OG Futo though. As for handling, well, that's a completely different story. The car seemingly loves to oversteer, especially in high-speed cornering. This thing is very hard to control, and I think Rockstar did this on purpose, thinking people would, drift this thing with the new low grip tires added in the LS Tuners update. I actually tried to drive the GTX with low grip tires, and not gonna lie, I was able to pull off a couple good drifts, but still found myself spinning out of control. I still found I could pull off more, quote unquote, natural drifts and power slides from using just regular tires, and I will admit, Rockstar, you did a good attempt. But I think if you just added a drift mode or some kind of new handling model, it would have been better. Most vehicles in GTA 5 still suffer loss of power when missing a drift due to lack of torque, kind of like in GTA 4 a little bit. I would like to go off the script for a second and talk a bit about the actual engine sound itself. While I don't mind the engine sound of the GTX, I still appreciate the original Futo's sound much more. Another thing I like to look at is the many modifications that were featured on this car. There is the obvious delivery boy livery, which is a clear nod to Initial D. The Japanese text translates to Sant Andreas, and my two favorites are still the Rolling Dude and the Tasha Drift. A bunch of other new mods as well, including new chassis upgrades, fuel cells, modified interiors, wings, spoilers, intake, and valve cover mods as well. As you can see from the footage here, I tried to make one car based on like a Bozuzoku style and another car based on more of a track day Itasha. I don't know, I kind of just put a bunch of stuff together and called it a day, really. I'm not really good when it comes to I'm not really good when it comes to trying to make different types of styles of mods. I'm just trying to make it I'm trying to make it clean but not like overly flamboyant, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. While I think Rockstar kind of cashing in the whole Initial D fanboys with this one, despite the sliding handling, I do like this car. While it is definitely more suited to more experienced drivers, it is definitely a fun ride. Before you buy it, however, I suggest taking the OG Futo for a spin. If you like that car, this might be the ride for you. 1984, Karin Futo GTX. I mean, what else is there to say? Honestly though, as much as this car is pretty cool, I still like the OG Futo a lot more actually. Well, I guess the gimmick is pop-up headlights, I suppose, you know. It's harder to drive, honestly. The old Futo feels more grippier and, you know, maybe not as quick maybe not as quick fully modified, but I think I prefer the OG Futo more. But this is definitely still a good attempt. So, Rockstar, good job. Good job. Well, there you go, guys. My 100th review, the 1984 Karin Futo GTX. And that's basically it. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you did enjoy the video, please tell me how I can improve. I mean, it's not like I can see dislikes anymore, right? Right, guys? Anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.